Hi, I'm Siobhan. I teach figure drawing, and in this video I want to explain the way I understand gesture drawing and specifically how gesture drawing relates to drawing the figure from life. Because if you want to get dynamic, expressive marks in your drawing, then gesture drawing is really the way to do that. Throughout most of my experience of figure drawing and teaching figure drawing, I've really noticed that a lot of people approach gesture drawing almost as if it was just a shorthand way to draw the model. Like, it's very much associated with short 1 minute or 2 minute poses that happen at the start of a life drawing session. And so people think that these are just warm-up poses, and gesture drawing is simply a quick sketch to warm up, to move through these short poses and to get to the longer studies. That way of drawing is not actually gesture drawing because, for one thing, you're certainly not capturing the gesture of the pose, and secondly, drawing these kind of quick sketches like this means that you're simplifying the forms, and you might also be symbolizing them. And when you're drawing the figure from life, you don't want to end up drawing symbols. Drawing the figure this way is great if you're interested in making stylized versions of the human body. If you're designing the figure from your head, that approach is fine. And working like that, you don't actually even need to go to a life drawing class. So the point I'm trying to make is that in a life drawing class, when you're drawing from life, you have a chance to actually capture something that goes way beyond form, something that's often referred to as the energy or the essence of the pose. And that's where drawing gesturally comes in, because gesture drawing is a set of marks that have meaning based on your observation, your experience of the pose that goes way beyond just the mere outline or the shape of the model. So whereas symbols don't necessarily have any meaning in and of themselves, they just sort of point to the thing that they're referring to that has meaning. Gesture drawing, on the other hand, is very powerfully meaningful because, for one thing, the gestural marks that you make on the paper in response to the pose are unique to you, and nobody else can make those marks, or nobody else can sort of interpret the pose in that way. In a gesture drawing, then, you actually don't even have to bother, or you don't have to focus on the outline or the shapes. You could say that you're focusing on the movement or the dynamic line of action or the energy or essence of the pose. But in practical terms, what does that really mean? I find it very hard to try and direct people to draw the energy or the essence. Instead, I always teach my students just to focus on their mark making, and through the mark making, that energy or essence will come through. So what you do for techniques for gesture drawing is you really use scribble drawing. So scribble drawing is like literally drawing in small scribbly marks, round circular marks like this, just to build up the form. And you might think that that's a bit random, but actually over time you are able to make those marks say what you want to say based on what you're looking at. Another technique is to draw the model for the entire pose without taking your charcoal or your pencil or your pen off the page. So keeping that contact going throughout the whole pose, like whether it's 2 minutes or 5 minutes, and keep drawing around the model, drawing around the pose, I should say, to build up the form. That's another way that you can make very powerful gesture drawings. The third technique then is to almost think of the forms as if they're see-through, and you can describe front and back simultaneously. with your marks. So you draw around the model and describe weight and volume in that way. So those are the techniques that I would encourage you to focus on if you're interested in developing your own dynamic, expressive way of drawing the figure. Gesture drawing is really the most direct way that you have of describing what you see or what you experience in that moment when you're in figure drawing class. And this way that I've described gesture drawing is ultimately a very natural way of drawing. So for you to discover your own natural way or your own natural style of drawing is, extremely valuable if you want to progress to learning how to draw the figure and see where that takes you in your wider art practice. I really hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please consider giving it a like. Thank you very much for stopping by and checking this one out, and I hope to see you in the next video.